Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Friday, August 8th, 2025. Oh my goodness gracious. Thanks so much for joining us on santasurfing.locals.com as well as on X as a subscriber. We really do appreciate your support. And if you are looking for our videos, they're under links on Beach Broadcast News. I am posting regularly on YouTube. I have a channel that sticks, and many people have had problems with Rumble, and I'm having technical problems off and on with Rumble. So I'm only posting short clips over there, but I got a lot to do. And as many people know that are on locals, y'all know that my life has changed a little bit behind the scenes. So, I've got a very limited time. So I'm going to dive right into this really big news. Check this out. Man, I'll tell you, Capitol Hill is going to have a big old MAGA hat on top of it. DC News is talking, the local DC News is talking about a DC takeover. It will be federalized. Big booms have happened just in the last 48 hours. Oh my goodness gracious, it is really, really big. President Trump, he was on, I reported this the other day on Wednesday. He's on top of the rooftop dancing. It's super cute. He's just sitting up there. He's just taking a look. He's looking at the whole DC and how he's going to federalize it and take it over. And then he ends with doing a shimmy shimmy dance, and it's super cute, cool, and cute. He's so adorable. Guys, we'll never have another president like him, and I don't know if we'll ever have another president, but going back to what he's doing fantastic things. In the past, I posted this yesterday, in the past 24 hours, President Trump, he honors 100 Purple Heart recipients, which is just beautiful. Then he announced that the census will not include illegal aliens. Democrats, and Stephen Miller reported that Democrats could lose 30 congressional seats. Trump is pushing to federalize DC. Trump slams Colbert, Howard Stern, and believes that Fallon and Kimmel are next on the chopping block to lose their shows. Universities need to show admission data to prove there isn't any affirmative action, which is really big. Can you imagine? They're all scrambling right now. The bursar's office, admissions office, they're all scrambling right now. ICE is hiring like crazy. Even the actor Dean Cain, he joined ICE. Guys, they are giving big bonuses out for those too. I read that was $50,000 sign-on bonuses. Plus, under the OBB bill, they are given $10,000 bonuses each year for the next 4 years. How awesome is that? Trump is meeting with Putin. I don't know if it's next week, and rumor has it that it might be in the UAE, which would be really big, which means President Trump is out of the country again, and big things happen. And then Pocahontas, she's losing. Elizabeth Warren, that is, she's losing her fake feathers. She fears, she's talking about the big pharmaceuticals can go bankrupt. She was complaining because the pricing, there's no more price gouging. She didn't, of course, say that. There's no more, President Trump had signed an order that there's no more price gouging. They cannot go ahead and gouge you, gouge us, gouge the health insurance companies anymore. So they're getting called out. Plus, Robert Kennedy was talking about certain types of medications that can go out. And he's even hinting about no more pharmaceutical ads on television or streaming TV. Then Trump, he signs a debanking EO. No more debanking for being MAGA. Somebody asked me, how do you know if you're debanked? You'll know. People know. President Trump did talk about how he was debanked by JP Morgan Chase, and this was during the time after his first term, and then he went to JP Morgan. He suddenly got debanked, and then he went to Bank of America and said, Bank of America, I'd like to give you $1 billion and open an account here, and they said no. So he closed the conversation with saying, well, I ended up banking with smaller banks. Okay, listen to his comms, guys. I think it's big. Then the Intel CEO is getting called out by Trump. It happens to be the day after President Trump signs the $600 billion deal with Apple. Then the next day he calls out the Intel CEO, which tells me what's in our computers. What are they doing? Do they have a little hacking mechanism in all the Intel devices? I don't know. You decide. Again, you decide. Tulsi also exposed James Clapper for manufacturing lies to start the 21-year war in Iraq. He manufactured the lie of the weapons of mass destruction. And again, we know that 9/11 happened because of, well, anons have dug that it was because of the Bush family, Dick Cheney, giving Halliburton a no-bid contract to go ahead and rebuild. And more importantly, they needed central banks in Iraq and Afghanistan, two nations that didn't have central banks. So, of course, Federal Reserve, dirty elites said, we need to have central banks over there. Again, they did. That was big. EBT is not accepting junk food. I got community noted on that. They said, this is a skit. And I'm like, but they didn't say that this isn't happening. They said it's supposed to happen in 2026. Well, I'm seeing a lot more videos of people trying to buy sodas, and over the soda machines at some of the smaller stores, it says no EBT all around. So interesting, but the no junk food. Again, we're trying to get healthy again. And then President Trump had 200 successful days of his awesome achievements. And I will say this, I started posting some of them, and a lot of them were Jassara related. I posted that on X, and I had, I don't know if they were bots or just angry people, and they were like, I can't believe this. And I'm thinking, I don't have time for you guys. President Trump, I couldn't last 5 minutes in his shoes, probably even 5 seconds in President Trump's shoes. So let's just be thankful, for all the great achievements he's paving the way. But this gets even better. So President Trump, he posted this yesterday. He is bringing back the Republic America People's House. He says this. He posted this on August 6th, 2 days ago. I'm proud to be the only president, with the exception of the great George Washington, to donate my salary. My first paycheck went to the White House Historical Association as we make much needed renovations to the beautiful People's House. Great improvements and beautification is taking place at the White House at levels never seen before, or at levels not seen since its original creation. Make America great again. People's House. How often do you hear a president say that, right? Well, President Trump, he is bringing this back. Jackie Kennedy or George Washington called it the People's House. Jackie Kennedy tells the world the White House belongs to the American people. Andrew Jackson opened up his doors on his inauguration day to the people. Is this what we're going back to? Isn't this fantastic? The People's House. So he's referring to the People's House again. Now let's talk about DC. DC is a little private entity that just formed itself to go ahead and control the entire country. It's not even a part of. And President Trump has been hinting about federalizing DC. Well, this is what happened yesterday, late last night, on a local news station, which is NBC Washington. And they reported this, and it is so happening because, oh man. First, I'm going to show you the August 7th video, and I put it on YouTube already so you could share it with your friends. It's just strictly the two video clips side by side. And then I'm going to share this thread because federalizing DC in my last podcast, which was on August 6th, the date of August 6th, it talks about federalizing DC. We talked about how it's the significance of that, how the court systems will change everything. So it is really happening because DC gives an update of the DC Takeover process. It hasn't officially been announced as federalized, but these reports indicate a DC takeover. Listen to this.
Law enforcement involved in this appears to be gathering here at U.S. Park Police headquarters. They are going to be leading this, according to the White House. Now, as you said, we now know this will be a 7-day effort focusing on, quote, high traffic tourist areas and other hotspots. Now, I'm going to put on my glasses to read you the next part of this. This is the list of the agencies involved. If we can bring that up on the screen: Metro Transit Police, Amtrak Police, United States Capitol Police, DC Police Department, Homeland Security, Federal Protective Services, Enforcement and Removal Operations, the DEA, the FBI, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, United States Marshal Service, U.S. Attorney's Office, Department of the Interior, Pretrial Services Agency, and Court Services and Offender Supervision. Now, we also know tonight News 4 has learned an advisory has been sent out to D.C. area hospitals alerting them to see a possible influx of patients starting at midnight as a result of law enforcement making a concerted effort to clear out homeless encampments.
I think, honestly, it's terrifying to think of federalization of DC.
Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Edward Daniels, who represents the Navy Yard area, acknowledges many in his neighborhood have been frustrated and alarmed by the events of this summer. Large groups of teens and kids even younger have caused disruption. Fireworks were thrown on busy public sidewalks. Some teens made their way into residential buildings. But Daniel says he worries about President Donald Trump's threats of a federal takeover. He wonders whether putting the National Guard, FBI, or any other federal law enforcement on the streets would clash with or erode D.C. law.
But I don't know what that would mean for our city. I think the MPD, of course, they're not perfect, but they are doing the job that we're asking them to do. We're asking for efficient but also ethical policing, and I think that's what we're getting more of these days.
This isn't a partisan issue. This is a public safety issue.
Former Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Kathy Henderson welcomes extra law enforcement in her neighborhood, which includes Benning Road Northeast. It has struggled with a resurgence in drug and violence problems in recent years. She says she supports the request that U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro made to the D.C. Council today. Pirro asks them to reconsider 3 laws dealing with young offenders: the Second Chance Amendment, the Incarceration Reduction Amendment, which is coupled with the Second Look Act, and the Youth Rehabilitation Act, in order to toughen penalties on people under 25 who commit violent crimes.
We have an individual that committed a murder when he was 16. Because of the legislation, he was given a sentencing reduction. So he was allowed early release. This person whom we wrote a community impact statement for, and we submitted it recently to the court, he committed another homicide.
President Trump has threatened a federal takeover of the district several times. As you know, last weekend's assault on a former high-ranking DOJ staffer in an unarmed attempted carjacking has increased the force of those threats and contributed to tonight's actions. Now, a 15-year-old boy and 15-year-old girl were taken into police custody for the assault on the 19-year-old last weekend, but a third suspect is still being sought. Live in Southwest Washington, Jackie Benson, News 4. Back to you, Jim.
Jackie, so much new information. Just quickly to be clear, you mentioned that this extra law enforcement would be going to heavily tourist areas, if you will, also in high crime neighborhoods too?
What we received, the information said high traffic tourist areas and other hot spots.
Okay.
And that is the full scope of the information we were given as to where they would be going. However, again, we have that alert from about the hospitals to expect an influx of patients possibly around midnight tonight, which is when this operation is expected to begin.
All right, Jackie Benson, Steve, thanks so much.
So we get back to our top story. This morning, people in D.C., they're waking up to increased federal law enforcement, a presence that you can see in some parts of the city.
Yeah, and for the next week, over a dozen agencies are going to be patrolling high-traffic tourist areas and other hotspots in D.C.
Earlier this week, President Trump renewed his threat to take federal control of the city and, quote, make D.C. safe again.
News 4's Joseph Omo joins us live from Union Station with more on this. Joseph, good morning to you. How's it looking out there this morning?
Hey, Tony, good morning. Good morning to Millette as well. Happy Friday. I mean, guys, what a week it has been here in D.C. We know President Trump, it's not a secret how he feels about violence in the city, and it's resulted in this. We are outside of Union Station this morning because the White House says you can now expect to see more police presence in touristy areas of D.C. In fact, there were several things announced by the White House yesterday. Check it out. For the next 7 days, and potentially longer than that, you can expect to see federal officers in marked units patrolling what the Trump administration is calling high-traffic tourist areas and other hotspots. We are not sure exactly what those hotspots are. The increase in law enforcement presence is supposed to start each night at midnight. We are talking quite a few agencies here, guys, just to name a few of them. Metro Transit Police, Amtrak Police, U.S. Capitol Police, the DEA, and the FBI. Look here, the ATF Washington office, that's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. They posted this picture just before 2 a.m. this morning, showing them apparently pulling over a car along Georgia Avenue. Tony Millette, this is obviously not the first time that we have heard the president talk about Washington, D.C. as a city. By now, you know, he has threatened to take over Washington, D.C. And as we wait to see what happens there, one thing is for sure, you will definitely see an increased police presence for at least the next 7 days, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Joseph. News 4 is committed to following this story every step of the way. So when we're not on air, you can get breaking news notifications sent straight to your phone through the NBC Washington.
Oh my goodness gracious. Can you imagine? This is coming from the local news station, and their website is NBCWashington.com, NBCWashington.com. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know about you, but I'm doing the happy dance, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, federalizing DC will have a huge effects. Yeah, go Trump. Go DC. Turning national, turning MAGA. We're going to be MAGA country, guys. The agencies that are included will be like it is the DEA, the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office in DC. Let me drop down here. Court Services and Offender Agency. I'm sure a lot of public defenders are going to be busy because we got a lot of broke swamp people, so they might have to use public defenders. That'd be interesting. Metro Police, U.S. Marshal's Office, Pretrial Services, ATF, and a bunch more. And we went through that list on my last podcast, going through the entire list of everything under D.C. Does that make sense why Kash Patel hasn't been able to do anything? Yes, Pam Bondi could because she's part of the federal government, but the FBI has been under, it was kind of connecting dots in my head. FBI, they couldn't do anything because it was not officially a federal agency, a federal district, right? Oh man. Remember, the military is the only way. I'm going to play this again. President Melania Trump, they gave on June 14th, Military Parade Day, also President Trump's birthday. They gave the signal of checkmate, and then you, of course, had this gentleman giving the flag. Listen to this.
Mr. President, on behalf of the United States Army, the Army Golden Knights, I would like to present to you this flag, which was flown over our nation's capital in free fall during the Army's 250th birthday celebration.
Unconditional surrender. Oh yeah. And again, I'd like to thank the locals. Ohana Looks Twice was the one that brought that to my attention. I was like, whoa. So the Capitol in free fall. President, this is the thread on it if you'd like to go ahead and open that up. But President Trump, he, on the day, just 3 days after the military parade, he was flying the beautiful flag on an 88-foot pole. They put 2 poles up, and that is an indication that he took over D.C. And he posted, Dan Scavino posted it too, on the same date, June 17, unconditional surrender. And now it's all making sense. Who surrendered? The swamp in D.C.? D.C. itself, right? It's all making sense. President Trump, he talks about it on when he was out there on the 17th. And this is what he says.
Ridiculous. Question on deportation. Unconditional surrender. Two very simple words. A very simple. Unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there. No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore, but we'll see what happens. Look, nothing's finished until it's finished. War is very complex. A lot of bad things can happen. A lot of turns are made, so I don't know. I wouldn't say that we won anything yet.
And then he closes with, and let's see what happens next week. Something big is going to happen next week. And it's not just been that following week. It has been non-stop ever since the military parade. Non-stop. And on July, so about a month later, July 9th, President Trump talks about running D.C.
We have tremendous power at the White House to run places when we have to. We could run D.C. I mean, we're looking at D.C. We don't want crime in D.C. We want the city to run well. Susie Wiles is working very closely with the mayor, and they're doing all right. I mean, in the sense that we would run it so good, it would be run so proper. We'd get the best person to run it. The crime would be down to a minimal, would be much less. And we're thinking about doing it. To be honest with you, we want a Capitol that's run flawlessly, and it wouldn't be hard for us to do it.
Okay, so again, Trump comms, Dan Scavino comms, Trump team comms. They're big, they're huge, they're massive. He told us about that, and then all of a sudden, there was a horrible crime that happened where one of the Doge staffers, he went out to save a woman whose car was getting carjacked by some thugs. He went in there to go help her, and he got beaten up, and they ended up arresting two of those three 15-year-olds. 15-year-olds, guys, but there's still one out at large. So they're working on that. But President Trump says, we'll run it. So he's already been hinting. And then President Trump, absolutely unstoppable, okay? With Trump federalizing D.C., it changes the entire nation. The court systems become federal courts, and all the swamp trials, not the ones that are military tribunals, but the other ones can be filed, guess where? In any federal court. So they can't just start cramming all these cases at D.C. They could spread them out, spread the love to all the federal courts, and then those courts, those hearings and trials can be heard, so it's not jamming one court. It's going to go ahead and fill up all the federal courts with federal judges that are Trump constitutional judges, and the FBI can finally take some action. Last year on TikTok, President Trump doesn't post often a video of himself live on TikTok, but he did this one. Remember when President Trump posted this? And I am going to open this up because it was posted by the Trump team.
We're a nation in decline. Nobody is safe. Absolutely nobody. We're going to be a strong nation again. We're going to be a safe nation again. This is safe. We're a nation in decline. Nobody is safe. Absolutely nobody. We're going to be a strong nation.
Oh, man. I mean, come on. He is sending handcuff comms. All right. We know that's going to be inevitable. But again, the system has to be cleaned out. The foundation has to be strong, rock solid strong. White House posted this yesterday. President marked his 200 days of America first. No mercy. Can't stop winning. And again, 200 days of winning with this Trump, that's beast Trump. Yeah, no mercy. Man, I'll tell you, President Trump, he has waited all his life for this absolute moment that we are all waiting for. I want to see the DC justice, other types of things, like I've mentioned before, yes, but the politicians, the dirty politicians, have destroyed our lives, have allowed criminals, can you tell I'm excited? Criminals and criminal enterprises and unconstitutional entities like the Federal Reserve control our lives, right? On September 27th, 2023, President Trump, he said that he has been waiting for this, he's been preparing for this his entire life. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been preparing my entire life for this battle. We did such a great job 4 years ago. We were unfairly interrupted. Let's be nice about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been preparing my entire life for this battle.
And he certainly has. But doesn't that tell you? He's been groomed for many, many years before he actually started to run for president and become president. So let's get ourselves ready. Get ourselves ready with the shimmy, shimmy dance. We've been doing a lot of dancing this year, guys. Little here, little there, little here, little there. But boy, oh boy, when President Trump starts officially federalizes D.C., how huge and ginormous will that be, yeah? But with that, we know it's going to get really nutty and bumpy with the liberals. They're going to still, lose their minds, and you're going to have them sending out their bots and their minions to go out and start on the full-fledged attack. So just stay frosty and stay alert. So President Trump, he and Carolyn Lovett posted the same photo. But President Trump, the day that he went on the rooftop, he went into the gift shop and he was looking at look at this right here. It's the Christmas ornament. And he has mentioned in the past, recently after he signed the OBB bill and after the tariffs came into effect, he was saying it's going to take about 5 to 6 months because of officially rolling out. Yeah. Much like an avalanche of, the swamp people getting but an avalanche, when it starts to roll, doesn't automatically hit the bottom like right away. It rolls, it takes time, right? And then the avalanche of greatness too, right? All the beautiful things that'll start to happen because of that, yeah? And I want to say thank you. It's just, I posted something yesterday and there was just a lot of negative, little Debbie Downers yesterday, and I was like praying. All of a sudden, Rudy Mutt, I want to say thank you. He gives me a little virtual hug. And it was more of I wasn't upset about me. I was more upset about, please, let's be thankful. President Trump, God chose President Trump. He's going to work through him. Let's be thankful for what President Trump, his team, and more importantly, what you all are doing. I think you all need to post something and say thank you, MAGA, and give you guys all little Pepe hugs because you guys are, because of you, it's happened. I don't know if any of you watch any of the Leverage episodes. They have the redemption ones that are out recently. And there was one about a group of people the mayor was dirty. He was also the judge, the only judge. And it wasn't about taking down that swamp, their swamp, or their dirty politicians. It was more about the town rising up together. And that's exactly what's going on. We have all bonded together, found each other. Had we not been thrown to the curb by our family that just didn't believe us, we found each other. We were all by the curb, hanging out, whoa. And then God is just sitting there right by on the curb. He's like, okay, Anons, let's all get together. You're all going to be friends. And that's what's happened. So let's thank God for everything that happened because we found each other and we all got to sit next to God and Jesus and say, Lord, this is what's going on, and talking with him and spending time with him. And because of this movement, many people have grown so much closer to God. And because of that, your faith has gotten stronger. We are actually here now, and let's see how the next few days roll out. And of course, the next few weeks and months as they roll out. But God bless you abundantly. Have yourselves a beautiful evening and day. And I will have a show very, very soon. Aloha.